All right, I'm not good at this. I'm I I apologize for being away for so long. Life's been busy. I'll catch you up. It's been hectic, but I'm back, and I'll try not to leave you this long again. Let's go. Big, I'm sorry. I know it was a longer hiatus than probably anybody should really take doing these things, but those things just kind of happen. There's anything constant in life, it's change. And a lot has changed over the last several months, on the hunting archery side for me, as well as, personally. So personally, my wife and I, always kind of dreamed about building a house that we're in, and we finally got the opportunity to do it. So super blessed on that. You see the bow den, which, it's getting there, but not fully done, but good enough for now. And also have another setup inside with my office. And hopefully by the time Joe comes down, he's going to do a little hunting, I think, January. That's when our hunting down here in Alabama gets pretty good, at least in my area. And maybe we'll, do some stuff in there, take you along on that. Super cool things planned, by the way, that we're doing. So you don't want to miss that. Also, if you know this isn't frequent enough, Instagram is actually where I'm more frequent, more consistent. Certainly we'll work on this, but you can follow me there, SG Holmes. You'll see the photography that I do, big into that. But you'll also, just kind of see what we're going, what we're doing, what's going on, kind of follow along. But yeah, follow me, shoot me a DM. I'd love to hear from you. Enough of that. Star of the show are these guys, right? So I have used trail cameras for a long time, probably as long as they really came onto the scene. I remember hunting with my dad without cameras, and you get very good at woodsmanship, you get very good at scouting, and that is certainly key. But these kind of change the game in terms of how much time you spend in the woods. And I'm not going to get into so much my strategy or whys or how I use cameras. That's for another day. But over those years, kind of seen trail cameras go from using your typical no cell coverage. That's fairly new. You set the camera up, you put the SD card in, you put in batteries, and for some cameras you put in a lot of batteries and a lot of SD cards, even back then, and they've come such a long way to today. And there's, as said, I've used several companies, not going to really get into any of those, but the one really I went to and actually never left is the Reveal Tactacam cameras. For example, last year I used the 2.0s and really, really like those. Probably would still be using those if these wouldn't have come along. But Reveal reached out over the summer, and we decided to partner up. And they sent me some of the 3.0s, which super blessed and super thankful for that relationship. And with that, what's the difference, right? So a 2.0, you can still find them probably out there. But I would really recommend probably springing for the 3.0. We'll talk about two big things that are going to mean a lot to many of you that are out there. Is the 3.0s don't require an SD card. So that's your memory card that you put in it. You can still put one in. Still got a slot on the inside here to put an SD card in, but you don't need it. I don't use them anymore with this version that's out. So it's got internal storage. You set it up, you put batteries in it, and you let it roll. Now it will, once it runs out of storage, you will get a notification, but it just basically overwrites your older photos, which for me is not a big deal. The photos that I want to save or deer that I've identified that I want to keep up with, targets, or on the non-kill list and stuff like that. I keep up with those kind of separately, but that's big. So if you're thinking about other cameras out there and you're kind of price shopping and all that, not having to go buy an SD card is, for me, big. especially if you're in an area where, or over food or whatever else where you get a lot of traffic. They can fill up relatively quickly. And you also, would have to go change them out if you don't want, that card overridden. The other big thing with a lot of the trail cameras that are out there are, like for example, last year with the 2.0s, it came with 2 SIM cards, right? So that's what gives you your cellular, communication signal. I don't know, I'm not a tech guy, but it's basically, what allows your camera to, send the signal out to your phone so that you get your photos. So last year you might have certain companies, and Reveal, for example, had 2 cards that would come, and you could put in a card depending on what the best signal is in your area. So my area, some areas I might have, AT&T had the best signal. Some areas Verizon might have the best signal, and I would just flip them out and all that. Not a big deal, but big enough that I'm so glad not to do that anymore. These actually will tether between the cards. It will acquire the best signal, and when you turn it on, you'll kind of see that it's searching for a signal. It'll pick up the strongest signal, and that's what it uses. So super duper handy, super flexible and reliable. I've not had any issues at all with SD, no SD cards, no SIM cards. I'm not losing sleep, and I'm glad that's in my past. But that's the biggest thing on the 3.0s that you'll notice this year. Now, there's 2 models. So you've got, the X3, and you got the Pro 3.0. So a couple differences there. The first thing is on the Pro, you've got a 2-inch LCD screen, which is super handy if you're setting up, the camera. You want to make sure it's, angled right and all that, which if you don't want to spend the extra money on that, the 3.0, you can actually set up and you can open your app, and I probably should have thought ahead and shown you that, but you can set up the app to make sure, and you can kind of see the picture through the camera to make sure it's aligned with, what you're wanting to observe. So that's probably the biggest difference. Second difference on that is, at night you have, your IR, what it uses to basically take a nighttime photo. On the Pro, you basically have no glow, and on the X 3.0 you have a low glow. Now, depending on who you ask, and it could just be certain deer or whatever. Some deer will tend to respond, or seems like they're responding, especially if you use video, when they see a glow on a particular camera. Some deer it doesn't bother them. I kind of would rather err on the side of caution. I really like the Pros personally, but that said, I've taken nice deer, with even some of the older cameras that didn't have that technology. But that's just something to kind of think about between the two. Also, on the Pro, you can get on-demand video if that's something you're interested in. Those are kind of the 2 key differences. Aside from that, great image sensor, that they've upgraded that from in the past. I have noticed that the trigger is very sensitive compared to some of the past cameras, so you really aren't going to miss anything, but at the same time, I've had to kind of dial mine down a little bit. Again, I'd rather have that than the other problem. Also, in terms of, low light and picture quality and those types of things, excellent. No complaints on any of that front. So again, just really phenomenal cameras. If you haven't had a chance to check them out, pick 1 or 2 up. They're also available just about anywhere. I think you can get them on Amazon. You can go to Tractor Supply. You can order them directly. I mean, they're out there. All your big box stores typically carry them. Last thing I'll say really on the Reveals is they are the most plug and play kind of ease of use cameras I've ever used. So literally I take them out of the box, put batteries in them, which again, if you had batteries from last year, you've got the lithiums, still takes the same battery. These are still interchangeable, so if you want to use your AA's, you can do that too. But literally put batteries in them. Remember, no SD card, no SIM card to worry about. You put them up wherever you want to hunt, turn it on, get it tethered to your app, and then you're ready to roll. Also, the app is fantastic, super reliable. super on time. You can also control a lot of the functions of the camera from home or the office or the road or wherever you're at. So don't worry about, anything in the app. It's solid. It'll take care of you. And aside from that, go check them out. They're pretty awesome. So with that, I just want to thank you so much. Remember to like, subscribe, shoot me a comment. Let me know what you're using this year. And as always, aim small, this small.